Offset blowing up Cardi B's phone on no caller ID. Like, we've all been there, ladies. So before we continue, I finally have new merch. Glow Up Club. And my inspo for this truly is that so many of you have watched me for such a long time, and I feel like we have gone through so many different eras of our lives together. Like, some of y'all, I really feel like we're friends at this point because we've just been talking, you know, online for so many years. So it's really like the glow up club, you know, because we really like have glowed up. And then I also got this hoodie that has a glow up club with a heart and the same font, and then on the back it has that pattern. There's also just this on a crew neck. There's hats, there's tote bags, there's also mugs. I think this is so cute and I cannot wait to drink my morning beverages out of it. I'm just really impressed with the quality of this. I did the heavyweight hoodies so that it would be nice and warm for fall and winter. I'm also working on an ebook guide that also goes along with this whole theme. So look for that coming this month. I'm definitely gonna have that out by this month. So links down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting. And let's continue on with the rest of the podcast. This is not really a celebrity news gossip podcast, but sometimes we do I reference things that are happening as examples for, you know, things we can learn and apply to our own lives. Cardi B filing for divorce from Offset. It's been very iconic to see this whole tea unfold and then her go on to Paris Fashion Week. She is glowing and living her best life, and I'm sure a lot of you girlies can relate. Once you get out of a toxic relationship, once you break up with a guy, even if the breakup is hard and maybe you're really sad at first, we always go through that amazing glow up, like just level up. A lot of men can really take from your energy, and I think this is particularly seen and maybe felt when you are in a toxic relationship and something that's really draining and detrimental to you. But even just in general, I think, you know, feminine energy is a real thing, and I've seen posts and you feel it, you know, when you're hanging out with a guy or maybe like your boyfriend and then he leaves and you just kind of feel like lighter and like, okay, like I can like almost relax a little bit. And I think that's super important to pay attention to. When you're dating with intention and with your own best self-interest in mind, one of the number one things that you have to do is pay attention to how you feel. We can analyze someone else's behavior all we want, but ultimately it comes down to how you feel. Does this person leave you drained, confused, wanting to stalk their social medias as soon as they leave your sight? Do you constantly feel like you're trying to figure out their behavior, you know, or do you feel calm and at peace? A lot of guys out there do want to keep you in a confused state and just a state of disarray, unsettled and off balance, because that's when they can most easily manipulate you, which to them kind of just translates into them having the power in the relationship and basically them being able to do what they want. So they might be getting what it is from you, whether that's sex, a place to stay, emotional support, you know, whatever. But then they also want to go out with their boys and talk to the next chick, and they also want to do this and they want to do that. And so when we look at examples like Cardi B and Offset blowing up Cardi B's phone on no caller ID, like, we've all been there, ladies. So you can just see, as soon as you stop caring and you're really done, they do everything in their power to try to get you back. Because once you realize, I'm better off without you, they're like, hold on, like the jig is up. Let me pull out the manipulation strategies. And this is why it's so important to go no contact when dealing with a psychotic guy like this. But then, you know, someone with narcissistic tendencies. But also if you're dealing with a normal breakup, I think a certain level of no contact, which includes not checking their social medias, not stalking them, re-triggering yourself over and over. You know, you need space in order to heal, even from, again, like a healthy, normal breakup. But especially when you're dealing with emotionally unhealthy person like Offset in this situation, you have to go no contact. So when I say don't send a paragraph to a man, usually, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, you're sending that paragraph because you're upset, you want to be heard, you feel like there needs to be some explaining. Especially when dealing with an emotionally unhealthy guy, which I would not even recommend sending a paragraph. Bro, don't send a paragraph to anyone. Like, literally, when I get a paragraph, I'm like, I'm not reading all that. Let's just have a conversation, like, at least on the phone, because I'm really not reading all that. I feel like this side note, but a lot of the times when people send a paragraph, it's just giving like, babe, you should have journaled before this. A lot of the times it comes across like they're trying to figure out how they feel in the text to the other person. And it's like, you could have already felt that, written it all down in a journal, talked about it with a friend, with a therapist, and then gone to communicate. So I just don't believe in sending paragraphs. Like, if that much needs to be said, say it in a phone call. But a lot of people are scared to have a phone call. So I don't know, like, the text is literally giving, I'm not reading all that. Like, but especially when you're dealing with a guy, a situation, God forbid, part of their game is to have you emotionally hooked. And so by sending this paragraph, you just show that they have that power over you to where you are upset and you want, like, you're the one reaching out, you're the one investing more energy into the situation. Communication is obviously important, but you need to communicate with somebody in a way that they are going to best receive. And with a lot of these guys, it's no contact. The opposite of loving them and trying so hard in their relationship is not to spaz out on them and get mad and like crash out and like yell at them. The opposite is to do nothing, to completely withhold all emotion and energy towards them. And that's when they freak out. They expect you to be emotional and to send a paragraph and to like cry on the phone and like, oh my God, like, and like send subs, like post subs on your IG story. Y'all could save yourselves so much time, energy, a headache, everything. Like, stop sending a paragraph because they're not ever going to give you the response that you want. And then, so it's like, what do you gain? You literally have to ask yourself, what do I gain? Because if you're just like engaging, you can't get anywhere with someone that's not willing to listen. And a lot of these guys, they don't care. They don't care about forming like a healthy bond with you. Like, they literally are just going to do what they want. There's a difference between having a miscommunication or getting into a fight with someone that you have a healthy relationship with already and that you know you can talk things through with. But if this is literally a situationship and you're like, he doesn't care if I live or die, but I'm gonna send him a paragraph, it's like, you look dumb, it's predictable, nobody cares. Like, he's like, LOL, look, this girl's sending me a paragraph. Like, actions over words. You can move on. You can stop talking to somebody, especially a situationship, without having to say. It's not even a real relationship. Like, I'm not saying ghost someone that you have, like, a relationship with and, like, someone who, like, respects you in the slightest. But, like, with these random... Y'all will be hooking up with a guy and he'll do something and it's like... I just want to talk things through. It's like, what about the situation to you gives that, like, this man is willing to talk things through? Like, you know, so often you don't know until you know. So that's what I'm here to tell you now. Even if you're in a relationship with a man, like this is your boyfriend, it's just facts that men respond to actions over words. And that's also why you have to look to a man's actions rather than his words. Let's use the example of Sex and the City. Carrie was always confused, never knew where she stood with Big, da-da-da. Like, do you think if he really wanted her, he would have treated her like that? Like, when a man really wants a woman, you know. Especially if you're dating, like, the man is going to let it be known that he wants you. But you have to create space for him to be able to want you. Because if you're doing too much, if you're always reaching out, if you're always like, I want to talk, like, that does not leave the space for him to chase you and pursue you. So that's why you have to look at a man's actions. So often, y'all, you know, you ask your friends for advice, whatever, and you're like, I just don't know, like, where I stand with him. Literally, you just have to look at the log of his actions from the past week, okay? Like, is he showing you? Like, what is he showing you through his actions? Like, I used to be so for communication, like let's talk things out, and sometimes that obviously is like necessary and a healthy, mature thing to do. But sometimes it's just like, especially with men, it just comes across, unfortunately, it comes across to them like you're just nagging and over emotional and you care too much and you're like overbearing. But when you, instead of like trying to get closer to him, you go and do your own thing and make your own path and create that space, he will like get it together. And it's just kind of odd, but it's that's game right there. I really honestly truly think a mix of both is necessary. I think there's circumstances where you do need to be able to have a healthy, mature conversation and, you know, just address something. And then I think that there's times where, you know, especially as a woman, you need to learn when to like back off and go do your own thing. And that's not saying like you need to accept poor behavior or just like keep your mouth shut and like whatever, but it's like you will get better results by, you know, going and like creating some space and like doing your own thing rather than like approaching him with like whatever it is you're concerned about or whatever. You know what I mean? Especially if this is a situationship or someone you just started talking to or dating, do not be sending paragraphs. Just don't send a paragraph in general. If it needs to be a paragraph, it could be a phone call. And if you're like, I don't know them like that to call them, then why are you sending a paragraph? You know, like just go journal and then decide what you want to do. Get your feelings out and just journal. So let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, just remember, ladies, no contact. Journal your feelings. Do not get them out in a paragraph to, especially a man. Always remain rooted in yourself so that anything that happens external, you know, you don't have to put up with anything that you don't want to, because you can always return to yourself. When you lose yourself in a relationship, that's when trouble happens, because you start not being able to see the other side and any other options that could be available to you. You think the relationship is all there is and that you'll be lost without it, but you should be so rooted in yourself that you're like, I don't want to lose myself. Another thing I just have to mention is when Offset tweeted, "You're my baby mama, I won." That's like so scary. That's like the scariest thing I could ever hear in life, honestly. Guys will get girls pregnant because the guy wants to trap the girl. Like, I feel like that is way more common than like a girl wanting to trap a guy with a baby. But if you want to do that, that's so dumb. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because like, why? Like, you have to literally, your brain is not developed or okay if you are already miserable, stressed out about a guy, and then you're like, yeah, let's bring a child into this situation. What? So stay safe, ladies. Don't let a lame, random guy who's stressing you out and messing up your energy come into your space. Have access to your body. Have access to literally anything. So let me know your thoughts on the whole Cardi B situation. Let me know if you relate to any point of it or what your thoughts are on anything that I talked about. So I think I'm going to do Sober October. This is the first episode of October, so I will update y'all. But as of right now, I'm really just thinking like I want to do that because it's been a few months now where every time I drink and go out, even if I have fun, I just end up regretting it and feeling like that was a waste. And this past weekend, it literally just felt like the biggest waste. I was so annoyed when I got home because I was like, that was just for nothing. And it's just like, it wasn't even really fun. And it just felt like a waste of money, of time, of energy. I was just mad that I was going to be tired the next day and like dehydrated. I'm just sick of it. Like, nothing ever good comes from that. And like maybe a funny story time, but like literally I just feel like I have too many goals, and like this is really my time of year where I lock in and get so much done and I'm like so motivated. And so I just want to take full advantage of that. I do not want to waste a day feeling off literally on purpose. Like, that's just dumb. So I was kind of like debating with the idea back and forth, but then since this past weekend I just felt so annoyed that I went out that I'm really just like, no. So yeah, and I said in a vlog, I was like, I don't know, like I don't even really go out like that. So what, like I'll maybe go out twice in October. Is that like worth it to be like, I'm doing Sober October? Now I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. And I think it will also just deter me from a lot of situations that I don't need to be in. Went on a date recently and we didn't drink like at all. It was just so nice to be on a date and not have it be centered around drinking, because I feel like a lot of dates are like, even if you're not like just going for drinks, which I do not believe in that. I'm like never doing that. No, If a guy asks you to drink, that's just really low effort and just kind of predatory in my opinion. But it was so nice to not drink and just be fully aware of everything. And I think especially in dating, but this just goes for everything in life. Like any situation where typically you would be drinking, it's like when you don't drink, you're so much more aware of everything and like how you feel. You just have such better judgment, which is kind of like duh, but it was just nice practicing just being calm and grounded in your own energy. Because I think a lot of people drink on dates and stuff because they're nervous, which totally makes sense. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it's like fun to go on a date and have like a glass of wine and feel sexy and like, you know, whatever. But it's kind of been interesting to experiment with not doing that. I just feel locked in. Like, I just want to go home and be productive after this. Like, I don't want to like feel dumb and then feel bloated and then get tired. You know, when you tell someone you're not drinking and they get triggered, like, I feel like this will weed out bad dates. I feel like it will weed out, like, the friendships are pretty much centered around drinking. We're gonna see, but I'm kind of like dedicated. Glow Up Club, I'm actually posting a mini series this week on my YouTube channel, so let me know if you guys saw. But just starting the month off with some motivation, get motivated with me / glow up with me, and I feel like this is just part of it, you know. My new merch should be available. As of recording this, I'm still waiting for my personal samples to come in. Like, I wanted to be wearing it in the video, but I'm not sure when it will come in. But new merch coming soon, y'all. Like, I'm locked in. I posted a reacting to my old vegan videos last week, and it's just been so funny to see all the comments and people relating, people that were part of that era. I mean, I know I've talked about it here and there, but I'm just very glad to be out of that era. It was definitely a time. Looking back though, it was a little culty, and I was looking up the definition of a cult, and it literally fits. Like, it's like signs of a cult: devotion to ideal, cause, or leader, tendency to isolate members from outside influence, narrative that positions group against outsiders, black and white thinking, no room for questions or discussion, undue influence or excessive control of members' lives. Like, literally like, that's basically what it was, you know. And it's just so interesting that it was such a big movement. I think on one hand it was cool, like in my personal experiences and when I would go to like vegan events and stuff and hang out with people and do collabs, it was cool to feel like part of a community, and like we were all, you know, we all could relate to each other in typically more than one way, because it was also like we all do social media, and then it was like we're all vegan and we all kind of eat the same. So that was cool. Like, it was cool to feel part of something. But I think ultimately it was obviously, like, it was unhealthy physically, but I think it was unhealthy emotionally too, because of these literal signs of a cult. And like, it was accepting, but it wasn't accepting. Thinking back to then, like, I could not imagine being like, guys, I'm gonna like try to eat salmon, or like, you know, like, people would not have that, and they would probably have shunned me, canceled me, you know. So that's not really community. That's like, you're part of a cult, babes. Again, y'all, it's very important to remain rooted in yourself and to keep your critical thinking on. Like, you can think someone's cool, even with like sprinkle. It's like, I don't agree with everything that she says. I think she has a lot of really great advice. I like that a lot of her advice is very empowering for women, but it's like, I'm still my own person. I'm not going to just like blindly agree with everything someone else says because I agree with some of it. So think for yourself, especially on social media. It's very easy, you know, just even because of algorithms, it's so easy to get suckered into these like just holes of like, this is all the content you see, and you just kind of get in this bubble of like, you think everyone thinks like that. We need diversity, and we need diversity of thought. A question somebody asked me that I did really want to touch on is they asked, are you spiritual? Would you say you're a spiritual person at all? And I wanted to talk about this because, just lightly, because I feel more and more, especially as I get older, just a greater and greater connection to like the universe. And I do feel like I will just feel it, you know. And I'm sure some people would say that's like God. Like, I didn't grow up religious, as some of you know. I think that's like healthy. Like, if you enjoy that, like not saying everyone needs to think like that or feel like that, but for me, it really helps me with expressing gratitude. And like, even last night, I was just like cleaning all day, doing errands. Like, it was kind of a regular day, but I was just in my bed at night, and I was like, thank you, universe. Like, I just felt so much gratitude. I think the power of belief is really strong, like believing that like the universe has your back. Some might say God has your back, you know. Stay focused and stay on track and to look forward to what's ahead, you know, because there's, you know, like feeling dread or just like feeling unenthusiastic about life and feeling hopeless. That's like one of the worst things we can, I think, feel as humans, you know, because that literally is like against evolution. So when we believe, you know, in ourselves, when we believe that there's better things out there, when we believe that like, okay, I can change and like life can change for me, life can look out for me, that can literally get you through like the hardest times in your life. And I think I believe in that more and more as I get older, because it's just like life experience, you know, and you just have more experiences where it's like, damn, like how did I get out of that one? Or like, I can't believe that happened and like everything ended up being okay. And like, something must have my back. Knock on wood, like, God bless. And that's, you know, just raw thought. I'm not in a wormhole of that online. Like, that's just literally my own brain and life experience. Let me know if you feel that or not. But I think even just practicing gratitude is really important and can definitely shift your mindset. Obviously, there's a lot of things besides that help with that. That is something like, when you first wake up, it's like, thank you for the day, you know? When you're going to bed, it's like, okay, like, tomorrow's another chance, like, thank God, like, you know? So let me know, would you consider yourself a spiritual person? And yeah, that's going to be all we discussed today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts on anything I talked about down below. Don't forget to check out my new merch. Don't forget to follow, share on your IG story. Love you guys. Bye, everyone.